Hey everyone, welcome to JoJo's World.
Good afternoon, wherever you are.
Good afternoon, whoever you are. I'm Liam S. Smith, one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Nick Valentine, the other one of the co-hosts.
JoJo's World is a revolutionary podcast, the like of which you've never heard before, in which it's a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure recap and discussion podcast where we are recapping and discussing Revolutionary Girl Utena.
That sounds penetrable.
That sounds self-contradictory.
Yeah.
Today, we've got a tasty treat for you.
What?
I've made cookies. No,
I'll
never make you cookies.
Will you ever make me
I will never. And if you ever ask me again, I'll challenge you to a sword fight.
But
Never.
oh, fine.
Today, Nick, we have a combination Nanami episode recap episode.
You said it with such conviction as well. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I live my life only by my convictions. Combination Nanami episode recap episode, specifically recapping all the Nanami shenanigans episodes, that deep, tasty lore that we're so hungry for.
The strong arcs that everyone wanted to see, but never did.
And speaking
now
of
did.
strong arcs,
Yeah.
then we kick off what I'm assuming is the final arc of Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Ooh.
And I'm so pleased to share that after much speculation and anticipation, we have seen a red car in this TV show. And when I say a red car, I mean probably about 40 red cars
So we've seen the red car,
that people drive around in and are emotionally manipulated in
but it's an actual red vehicular
that you
car.
drive.
And then followed by like a bunch of cars that come out of the ground.
And shoot their beams up into the air as duels. So red cars seem to be fulfilling the same role in this new arc that desks with things on them did in the last arc, in that they're in the dueling arena and they symbolize the progression of the duel.
Or in the first arc, air.
Yes, void.
Complete nothingness.
Yes.
Absolute destiny apocalypse.
And, oh god, we'll get to it when we get to it, but new stock footage sequences this episode, game changer.
Oh, and the bed! We got the
Yeah,
bed!
episode 25, Revolutionary Girl Utena, is an absolute game changer. If you think you knew what came before, you don't. And if you did, well, that's just hubris, man.
Let me just say, it will revolutionize the way that the show progresses.
You've got no choice but to watch this show.
You've got literally no choice but to listen to JoJo's World and subscribe
to patreon.com/JoJo's World.
That's it right there. Capitalism at work.
Everyone should also check out the opening titles to, what's it called?
Oh, this fucking hockey thing?
Yeah.
This goddamn fucking...
The Nagano tapes from Five Rings Films, a hockey documentary about like the first time the Czech Republic won the Hockey Olympics or something like that. But it opens with a homage/recreation of the Evangelion theme set to hockey and historical footage.
Like, there are words flashing up like communism, capitalism, revolution.
1998.
1986.
And it's just literally the Evangelion theme.
It's very
Why?
weird.
Who knows? Who cares? It's just good.
It's the Olympics, baby.
Yeah. Nick,
Yes.
the secret Nanami diary. We're getting right into it today. We've got a lot of ground to cover. We're doing 2 episodes because one's a recap, but then that second one is meaty.
The Sisterhood of Traveling Nanami.
Yeah. Looking for Nanami brandy.
Lost in Nanamiton.
Oh, what's that fucking Australian novel and play where it's
Cloud
like...
Street?
No. Good guess. Great guess.
Yep.
But no, the one where it's like, oh, colonialism, how scary to get lost in the bush.
Lockie London.
No, also by Tim Winton.
Jeopardy.
No, that's not even... That's like a BBC production, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Fucking Picnic at Hanging Rock.
What the fuck is Picnicking Hanging Rock?
I described it going into it, Nick.
Fair.
So
That's I don't know what I expected.
The Secret Nanami Diary. Picnic at Secret Nanami. After a mishap puts Mitsuru in the hospital, Mitsuru Suwabuki, of course, Nanami's child
Nubile
butler.
slave boy. Yep.
Yep. You say tomato.
I say tobacco.
Puts him in the hospital. Utena, Anthea, and Nanami stumble upon a diary he's kept that details Nanami's every plot since the time he's known her.
Every plot.
And then that's basically the framework. You remember like the first Simpsons recap episode where it still had like a coherent plot of its own?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of that vibes.
but a lot less of a plot.
Yeah. And clearly a budget saving measure because 90% of the new conversations that occur in this episode are silhouettes behind a curtain and no mouth movement.
But fine episode, I guess.
Yeah, good banter.
Yeah, we got
Here
some nice moments.
Is the episode note from our favourite person, Ikahara.
Oh, give it to me, Ikahara.
This is just a secret between you and me.
Tell me more.
But when I was 14, I confessed to the girl I loved for a long time, and she turned me down.
That happened to me.
Did it?
No,
Okay.
I didn't have any girls in my life.
I couldn't give up. I secretly followed her when she left school.
That is me, though.
That's a red flag.
Yep.
Was that you?
I can't remember anymore.
I hope not.
Maybe, who knows?
I secretly followed her when she left school. But as I did so, a UFO telepathically transmitted this message to me.
Shit, it's literally me.
Stop acting like a stalker. Stalker? What's that? Is that some hip slang from the future? And then the response from the UFO again. Live your life heroically. Live it with style. If you live heroically and with style... If I live heroically and with style, what? When you grow up, you will direct an anime about girls revolutionizing various things.
Ah, that does make a lot of sense. Is
Yep.
that it? Is
Yeah,
that the
that's
whole
it.
no- Oh my god.
And there's a great comment from this Reddit thread. Wait, what? I don't know if this makes sense or doesn't make sense. I'm so conflicted. And then someone points out it seems to be a sequel to the author's
one.
note from the last recap episode, and that story may have sounded familiar if you recall.
It did sound very familiar where he got a message from a UFO.
Yeah, telling him not to be a sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And that if he does stop being a sketchy guy,
Then he'll direct an anime
about girls revolutionizing various things. It's more or less the same story told in a different manner. Very apt for a recap episode.
Oh, it's like themes within themes.
Yeah, meta-textuality.
Yeah, unidentified flying objects that no one will believe that you were abducted by.
So, we open with Nanami and Suwabuki walking together. Suwabuki is just telling Nanami her schedule, handing her the cheat sheet for her upcoming test.
At 3 p.m, you'll have a test. Here is your cheat sheet that you will take into the test with you that I have prepared for you. I'm in primary school, you're in high school. How I made this, do not ask.
And then the stock footage of her being attacked by a horse from Suwabuki's introductory episode plays again. But this time, he leaps in front of her and is, we are led to believe, struck and knocked unconscious by it.
A daring young lad.
And then the bulk of the rest of the episode is in the infirmary, and it's Suwabuki waking up in the bed, surrounded on all sides by curtains, and then on the other side of the curtains he can see the silhouettes of Nanami, Utena, and Anthe, thinking he's unconscious and reading his secret Nanami diary.
Which we all know is definitely not meant to be read.
Well,
it
it's
contains secrets that
Faux
no
pas, reading someone's diary.
Indeed, it is. But no one can know the secrets within, lest his reputation
Yes.
be ruined.
And the emotional conflict is that he wants to interrupt them, but he realizes he's nude and that would be so embarrassing. Certainly he couldn't just shout from beyond the curtain, hey, I'm awake, don't read my diary.
Well, no, of course not. Like, what? It's the 90s. It was a different time.
My name is Mitsuru Suwabuki. I'm an elementary school kid who has devoted his life to Nanami.
Reads Utena.
Yep. Then we flash back to, like,
Very first part where we meet Nanami.
yeah, which is her public heroic face, where she is standing up to her minions, Keiko and Co, who are slapping Anthe.
Man. Yep.
We're not going to recap all these flashbacks because we don't have time for it.
We went through
but
them.
the recurring thing we see is it's all these scenes, and then we'll have like the shot will linger, or we'll have a slightly changed bit of animation to reveal that Suwabuki is hiding there watching the whole thing.
He was there the whole time.
Like he's being chased by the elephants that leads to the car being crashed during the India sequence.
He's hiding under the table in the student council room
Yep.
to listen to Toga Kiryu talk about Nanami.
Barely even hiding at that point. He's in the roof watching from a ceiling panel in the whole I'm going to put snails in her pencil box
Yep.
sequence, and so on.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say he was stalking her. But I don't know any better.
And the whole joke of it in the first part of this episode is Utena and Anthe realizing, like, Oh, hang on, yeah, Nanami has been plotting against us this whole time. We didn't know you were behind that weird dress that melted when it got champagne on it.
And Nanami's like, what? No, it wasn't me at all.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do that.
This is lies and slander against me. I'm a beautiful young hypocrite that no one suspects at all.
Tsuwabuki is also watching from the trees with opera binoculars when the body swap curry happens. And also, at the end of that episode, we learned that he was the one who gave Choo Choo a banana as a souvenir from India, which led to Choo Choo dropping the banana peel, Nanami slipping on it, and crushing the 900 billion fold curry.
The inciting incident.
Oh my god, no, the opposite of that.
The anti-inciting incident.
Also, just a weird couple of shots where he is there watching, and behind him are 3 elephants with the hair and glasses of those 3 identical boys. Just normal stuff.
Just stuff that you can really just go, yeah, that tracks. He's curled up in the infirmary just listening to them.
Yeah.
List off these moments. And he's going, oh no, they can't read my secret. That will make Nanami hate me and I can't have that. The secret. The secret. Liam, the secret.
The secret is when you put what you want out into the world and then you get a bike or whatever.
My mum tried to convince me that that was a legit thing for a long time.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Well, she still thinks it's somewhat real. She's like, no, it's just the universe thanking you. And I'm like, what does that mean, Mum? What atoms are coming to me being like, yo, you done good?
There's
like, what?
I can't answer this.
No one can, man. It's terrifying.
There's a sequence here that I quite like where Nanami and Utena start like physically grappling, and then Anthy stops them by going, "Shh, look, Choo Choo's sleeping. Listen, he's grinding his teeth." I grind my teeth when I sleep. That's why I have to wear a mouthguard.
It sounds like what they say. Some really weird
like the
things.
swaying of a rope bridge in the wind, and then Nanami is immediately distracted, and Utena goes back to reading the diary. No, it's like the creak of a swing at the beach.
Oh, it's like a sound.
It's like the last gasp of a dying man.
It's like the sound of a divorce paper being filed to the wrong inbox.
We are so delighted to be treated to the sequence once again of Toga Kiryu punching out a kangaroo.
It is, and I think Tsuwabuki is there, but he doesn't,
So they played these flashback sequences out of the broadcast order, but in the order that we would have seen them had episodes 5 and 8 not been switched in production order. So I wonder, like, obviously, I've got to imagine a substantial amount of time has passed since those episodes airing when this one is produced, but...
Everyone's still confused by the workaround of, oh, we'll just take that and that. Boom, done. Yeah.
Quick bit of jokes, I guess.
I guess?
I mean, it's technically a joke, where it's like...
In its most technical sense, there is a setup and a punchline, but how we got there?
like it's not
much to be
It's
desired.
not funny, but it happens.
Okay.
They're like, oh, we shouldn't be reading this diary. Tsuwabuki's feelings are in here. Doesn't that carry any weight? And then Nanami is sitting on a scale being like, don't I carry any weight?
And they're like, oh, about 49 kilos,
Oh
I'd
no,
say.
I've gained weight. But then Choo Choo is also sitting on the scale.
Funny.
I guess. But then they find his dark secrets. Strategies to make Nanami love him.
Strategies to make Nanami love him? Why, that's almost manipulative.
Strategy number 1 is flashback to the sequence from the start of his introductory episode where she is walking alone at night and feeling threatened. But then somehow she would end up in hospital and it be amnesiac. And he would be like, I'm your older brother.
It's me, Kiryu. And she immediately goes, oh, my brother.
So I turned to you and said during our watch, like, oh yeah, his strategy number 1 is hit her on the head with a coconut so she gets amnesia.
Which is a flawless strategy.
Yeah. A tale as old as time.
Indeed.
Strategy number 2, if Nanami turns into a cow again, this is what I'll do.
So we get like almost the entirety of the scene where Utena's like, hey, stop acting like a cow.
Oh, crucially prior to this, Tsuwabuki does swallow his pride and tie his bedsheet like a toga and be like, please don't read my diary anymore. And Nanami's like, no, you're plotting against me. It all must come to light.
So we get almost the entire flashback sequence with her as a cow.
Yep.
And then when she turns into a cow...
When they're about to do their bullfight sequence...
Tsuwabuki stands in front of Utena.
And is like, no, I shall also become a cow.
He turns into a cow.
He puts on the cowbell, which crucially is what
Turns him into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He turns into the cow, and then they both start mooing together, happily, doubtfully, and reliquarily.
No.
2
out of 3.
Diminutively. Domsnastifully.
Are you trying to say like docilely?
That's the one. Dofully. Yeah.
And then they're grappling, and he's struggling. Accept it gracefully, Tsuwabuki. No, don't look at me. And his sheet falls away.
His toga falleth off.
We get to see the school's nice little rose-crested
Slippers.
infirmary slippers. Shot of elephant roaring, Chucha ringing a bell, because the joke is they can all see his penis, and Nanami is like, ah! And then she falls backwards out a huge stained glass window, and wakes up to reveal that she was actually the one unconscious in the infirmary, and Tsuwabuki has been by her side this whole time, amending her schedule. And then she's like, stands up, she's in her full dueling uniform, give me that, reads his diary, oh no, if she reads strategy number 24, I'm doomed! And that's the end of the episode.
It's not a very eventful episode.
No, but there's some good bits in there, like, credit where it's due, like the last flashback episode had some good lore, this one has some good bits, they could be doing much worse.
Could they?
I mean, it's clearly a budget-saving measure.
It's true, it is. And we know that the rest of the show is good.
Yeah, they're trying to be creative with it at least, so you've got to give them that. It could very easily just be...
Flashback number 1. And do you remember the other bit?
Yeah.
Flashback number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would not be great. But...
Or even, like, I remember, as listeners may recall from our Lost episode,
one that they never heard.
I watched Gurren Lagann recently, and I found the flashback episodes in that very, just like, oh yeah, we're doing a flashback episode this time.
Not the best.
No.
But you know what is the best?
Oh, there was crucially a good bit. I'm saying crucially a lot today. That's the word of the day.
You've got to say fundamentally.
When Nanami stood up to snatch the diary, she just clicked her fingers, and then Keiko and Ko were just bursting through the door like, yes, we're here.
We, the vermin, have arrived.
I'm just going to stop fighting you on that. Oh, and then there was a shadow puppet play.
What was the shadow puppet one? Was this the one with the monkey?
Yeah.
So...
This is, I can only assume, the final with Arc B Shadow Puppet Girl. Because of next episode, the original recipe Shadow Puppet Girls are back.
They fall from the UFO and are all like, oh my god, we're back.
Extra, I'm finished. And then a donkey is like, what's wrong? The king has ears like a donkey. A donkey, you say? It's awful. And then she, in the character of the king, is like, I'm not even a donkey. The truth is, I'm a monkey. And then the robot catching monkey from a few episodes... the monkey catching robot from a few episodes comes and catches her and is like, I have caught a monkey. And then she leaves in a UFO.
Classic.
And those 3 boys were there watching the whole thing, and then they harmonize the word curry over and over again, and we get a long shot of them in the long locker hallway of Otori Academy, and that's the end of the episode.
It's a weird episode when you boil it down.
But
we now move into...
weirder in many different ways is episode 25.
The new arc beginneth.
Their eternal apocalypse.
Ooh, like a destiny apocalypse?
Absolutely.
Ooh.
I wasn't even trying to do that.
Uh.
Saionji, still sore from the events surrounding his expulsion, vows to quit the dueling game. However, Toga and Akio have other plans for him.
Could those plans be?
It is raining quite heavily here right now, so apologies if that's picking up, but you might find it relaxing.
You might think to yourself, JoJo's World, with chill beats to relax to, while fireplace plays in background.
Lo-fi beats to anime podcast too.
What's the, you know there's that old meme where it's like the jazz song from that anime, and then you put it to a fireplace and rain?
No.
Good.
I don't know.
Good. There's like some jazz song that you put to fireplace and rain, and it goes for like 9 hours.
Is this like lo-fi beats to study to?
Sort of, yeah, but it's just this one jazz track.
Beats.
Yeah, it's like this one jazz track that's like dun 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 dun.
It's not the fragrance of dark coffee from Phoenix Wright 3 Trials and Tribulations.
I believe it is. I actually think it might be that song, and then it's that with a fireplace and rain sounds.
Okay.
For 8 hours.
That was my ringtone for a while. It's a good song.
It is a good song.
Nick.
Yes.
Ikahara's commentary
How
for episode
dare
25.
You? Sure, let's do it. Fine. Fine. I'll let you read this to me. Do it harder, faster, stronger, better. I don't know the rest of the words of that song.
Out of nowhere, Sayonji comes back all powered up. Why did he power up? Because he rode in the acting chairman's car, of course.
Ah.
Okay, so why does riding in his car let someone power up? The staff had this conversation during work on the episode.
Like, that's the end of the note.
A was a salaryman at a certain small to mid-sized company. He was very clever at his job, so the company considered him an asset. But he was unable to stay motivated about his work. This isn't the work I want to do. Stealing his resolve, he went to the CEO and spoke his mind, saying, I'd like to quit. Now, slow down there. Why don't you have dinner with me tonight? And so, A was taken to a certain sushi restaurant. The restaurant had no sign in front and was set slightly back from the road. It was the type of restaurant that didn't serve patrons without an introduction. This was the first time A had been to a sushi restaurant that wasn't the conveyor belt type.
I see.
He'd always thought of a sushi restaurant as a place with menus, or where the ingredients available were listed on a board behind the chefs.
Liam, I have been scorned by your riddling before. Does this riddle have an answer?
Oh, now, Nick is, of course, referring to the time that I read him a very long and pointless riddle that featured in the Rude Tales of Magic Dungeons & Dragons podcast.
And you said it with such sincerity, and at the end went, oh no, they found a trapdoor, and I went, what?
It was all pointless.
What?
First time he'd been to a restaurant that didn't have conveyor belt or menus, but in this restaurant, the choices weren't written down anywhere. Despite this, A's chef placed one piece of sushi after another in front of him, without having him place any orders like chutoro or kanpachi.
Yep.
Always at just the right time. And that wasn't all. Each piece melted in his mouth like no conveyor belt sushi he'd ever tasted. This is what an exclusive restaurant is like. At that point, the CEO, who had been sitting silently beside him and having a drink with his supper, began to speak. The CEO wasn't eating any sushi. He was drinking and grazing on some sashimi. Isn't this place good? Huh? Yes, sir. With me at your side, you can come to places like this every week. And what's more, every week? Shall we move on to the next place? Gulp sound. The two of them vanished into the busy streets, glittering with neon. The next day, A appears at work with the bright shining face of a whole new man. I'm not the same man I was yesterday. Co-workers. Huh? It's written like a play for some reason.
Why is this so long and elaborate?
I've seen everything. I know how this work is set up now, and that's why I'm here. And from that day forward, A's motivation skyrocketed. He'd completely forgotten about quitting the company. Apparently something like that happened. Huh? Why does he ride on the hood of the car, you ask? Well, if you want to know that, you'd better come along.
Ooh.
So basically, the gist of it is that Toga and Akio take Sayonji on his car ride and show him status and power, possibly mystical power in that sense, but possibly tangible earthly power, and that gets him back on board.
And then he's just like, wow, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Can I have this? And they're like, kind of.
Only
Oh.
if you defeat the Rose Bride again.
Oh, I'm fucking into that.
We open. Car, driving, street lights, street lines, car, Akio, gear shift, car dials,
dials?
Yeah, car dials,
You
accelerometers, etc.
You mean speedometers?
Sure.
Odometers?
Yeah, pedometers.
Fuelometers? Other ometers?
I have a joke that I'm not sure if I want to make or not.
I think I know what your joke is.
Guess.
Is it something to do with the pedometer?
Yes.
Is it something to do with some kind of take on the pedometer term?
Yes.
Does it have something to do with children, Liam?
Indirectly.
And cars? Or vans?
Look, all I was going to say that in the UK they call it a nonsometer.
A nonsometer?
Yeah, look, those who get it will get it.
Okay, alright.
It's Akio driving around with Kiryu in the big night car. It's red, it's a
Was that a
convertible.
fucking Homestuck reference?
No, that was a pedophilia
Oh,
reference.
okay, gotcha. Understood. Right, I'm with you again. Okay.
Which, potato, potato.
You know, I love Homestuck just very dearly. Oh, why is that? It's like a big pedophile
I'd like to
reference.
move on.
Okay, alright.
I know why I started this, but I would like to move on.
Okay, alright.
It's Akio and Kiryu driving down the night car. It's a big red convertible.
I think Akio's like, so, How are you feeling?
Where he's like, the throb of the engine feels... The car represents power, from what I can figure out, right?
Yeah, some kind of like
Kind of
status and
I mean, it's
power.
classic midlife crisis symbolism, right?
Yeah.
You're feeling insecure about your power, you get yourself a big red car with the top down, you go cruising, you kill the Rose Bride,
And you're all
seize
like,
eternity.
Hell yeah.
And we see for the first time Akio in what I would imagine is his equivalent of the student council dueling regalia, because he's wearing a big white coat with epaulets, as opposed to just like the
normal garb that
red
he wears.
shirts.
His hair
His hair's
is
down, not
and
in that
flowing.
ponytail.
Yeah, it's flowing along.
Which I suppose it symbolizes. Yeah, that's right. The hair symbolizes
Okay.
him discarding the restrained and respectable persona that he assumes as the chairman of a Tory Academy and being a full space pervert.
He's donning his other face, if you will.
Truly an auspicious occasion this episode as the sky pervert and the space pervert are striking up an alliance.
So from both the sky and the space, you will see it from all angles. Now we need only the land and sea. The great four perversions will be complete.
I suppose
This sounds way too real. It's like-
Nemuro might be the fire pervert.
No, because he would be the underground pervert.
The furnace and the burning of the hall, you know?
Yeah, so it'd be like
There's
the earth pervert,
Nah,
right?
I'm getting fire.
Oh, okay, all right. So we got fire, sky.
He's not that much of a pervert, though. He's just an evil therapist.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough, yeah. He's not really into being like, ooh, I want to see more.
He only
He's just like-
notably secretly watched someone once, from what I
yeah.
remember.
And then the rest, he was like, just give me the cliff notes. That's it.
So they're driving. And Akira's like, hey, want to drive? And Kiri's like, but, well, I'm not old enough. Oh, no. You know, here at Otori Academy, we like our students to drive.
Loose and limber. That's the Otori way.
The independence of the students. And they just drive into the night, and then it's daytime.
Hands him a bottle of whiskey. You sure you don't want to drive, kid?
Now, Nick, we'd learnt about this next sequence of events in the next time on from the previous episode. And immediate red flags as we learn that Utena and Anthe are moving out of their deserted dorm
That's nice.
into Akio's house.
Oh, no.
Wakaba is here to help them move in.
Oh.
And she is immediately charmed by the handsome Chairman Akio.
Oh, no.
The chairman is also cursed.
Oh, this is the worst conceivable timeline.
They're all moving in.
Choo-choo's there.
He's on the vacuum. Hooray!
He's in the vacuum, I think you mean.
He's on, in and around the vacuum.
So it's grand, opulent, and excessive.
Huge. They're looking through the blinds outside. They've got a big,
Space window?
yeah, big painting of space, I guess.
There's a rose kind of vase.
I mean, there's
thing.
always roses, right?
A bouquet of roses in a golden vase
Yeah.
before the space. And Wakaba
and-
and Utena just talking.
I suppose this is our first indication that there's a big status quo change this arc. The first of many.
Things are different and new.
Wakaba is just super horny for Akio. He's like, wow, if I lived under the same roof as a guy like that, just think of the romantic possibilities. I'm so jealous of
And
you.
Utena's like, he has a fiancé.
Hey, remember when you were living with Sayonji for like 6 months?
Aren't you still into him?
No, I don't, because that might not have happened. And yet Sayonji has returned to the school.
Oh.
Think about it.
No.
Okay.
I refuse.
He's already got a fiancé. Oh, whatever. Hot guys always taking. He's like 40. He's probably like 30, but come on, he's old.
I don't think he's 30. I think he might be like 20-something.
The point is, he's old and they're in high school. Not appropriate.
Inappropriate chairman.
And sure, in this scene, it's just like a girl fantasizing about someone. Like, not ideal choice, because we know he's a villain, but understandable. But we also know that he's a huge creep who might be sleeping with his sister.
You know, it's like the classic, ooh, I love the principal. He's so attractive. He must be like
Something that
70.
someone has never said.
Yeah, and then followed by, oh, but he might be like under 30, over 20.
So he's in the room now and he's like, I don't have any other family, so I want to keep my little sister near me.
Yeah.
But I felt bad about separating her from her dear friend. So I imposed on Utena to move in here as well. Normal.
I don't know how I feel about this
So,
so far.
okay, this next exchange, like, Wakaba's really laying it on thick. Like, I'm a good friend of Anthe's too. Here, let me pour you some tea. Oh, thanks. And then, like, two conversations break off here, one entirely silent, where, like, Wakaba and Utena start bickering about how thickly Wakabo is laying it on. But then there's just like this dark, meaningful look.
Akio's giving to Anthe.
glaring daggers at Anthe, like, how dare you enjoy yourself like a normal human?
You think you deserve this, you dumb rose bitch? That's it. None of that is said.
You're
but
merely my puppet, I assume. Okay, and then
we assume.
student council meeting. Sayonji's there. He's drawing a hard line.
He slams the letter from End of the World onto the table.
I'm not doing this anymore.
I'm out. All right? I'm out of this crime life. I'm breaking
Oh, and
out of the Breaking Bad.
the random symbols that are happening in the background this time is, of course, baseball game.
A baseball game?
Yeah.
Nice. That's the one where you catch the ball
I
in the
would
mitt.
contend
Go on.
that there's a lot of similarity
Uh-huh.
between storytelling in Revolutionary Girl Utena
Yep.
and storytelling in Blazeball.
How so, Liam? How so?
Well, it's a lot of abstract interpretation.
Yep.
Of course, in Blazeball, the difference is it's on the part of the fan base from randomly generated baseball events, largely, with some cutscenes.
Yep. Yep.
And in Utena, of course, we're dealing with a lot of abstract symbolism, which is ambiguous and up to the viewer to interpret.
I would dare say that is a stretch.
Well, Utena is, of course, known for doing stretches when she is.
It all comes back to splort.
I can't trust what's in these letters, and I'm no one's pawn. I'm Sayonji, damn it.
And I believe there's a strike
Yep.
here in the baseball game behind them.
And Mickey helpfully exposits to us that, like, oh yeah, so I got this letter and I checked it out, and indeed, the dueling arena has changed. There's a lift there now.
And then in the background, you're out!
A gondola has appeared.
You're out!
A gondola? To carry us to a new stage.
3 strikes.
It's basically just exposition to be like, yeah, so we revamped the going to the dueling arena stock footage.
Look, we heard you all saying, seems a bit samey. So we thought,
Yeah, we're gonna make it way more intimate between Anthe and Utena.
look, we got a plan, all right? We're revolutionizing the way we do this.
Yep.
It's the last season, let's fucking go.
I never signed up to be anyone's lackey. He storms off. You're out. Game set. And then as he's walking away, there's all this confetti.
Celebrations
And
occurring.
Nanami's like, God, I don't want to be anyone's goon either.
Jury looks up, she's wearing some lipstick.
Who is the end of the world?
Mickey's just looking on.
They're all
ominously.
being very pensive. Meanwhile,
In the space fuck dome.
yeah, basically. In Akio's secret space sex palace.
When I grow up, I want to go to the sexy space palace.
Sorry, it's what I would consider one of the more blatant pieces of storytelling symbolism in this show, because he's like, he's putting his hand around Utena and she's blushing.
Akio's putting his
But
hand
he's
around
like,
Tenna, yeah.
look at that star shining brightly. It's my name is derived from it, but it's also known as Lucifer. Like, and that's just like so like 1-to-1. Akio is the devil,
Yep.
right?
But what if this is like to pull the rug out from under us at the end, where it's like, I wasn't the bad guy at all. I was the good guy.
I was trying to protect you from Toga Kiryu.
Don't you get it?
I just like to sleep with my sister for normal reasons.
Yeah, that's perfectly reasonable, right? We all sleep with our sister. That's how it works.
Mickey and Kazue.
Bam.
Nanami and Toga.
Bam.
That's all we got in sibling land.
What about, surely there's another sibling duo here. Or should I say sibling couple?
Shut up. We've danced this dance before. Like, Utena is like thinking, he seems so familiar to me. Could he be my prince? Do I have feelings for him as a result? Of course, the implication that we learn later this episode seems to be that he is indeed the real deal for the ruse that Kiryu was pulling in his arc.
We know that. Well, we'll get to that.
And in much the same way that space perversion is a greater version than sky perversion, Akio is a greater version of the same antagonist that Kiryu posed himself as, being manipulative and emotionally
Harrowing.
I suppose manipulative again, but he's manipulative in both the scheming sense and the emotional manipulation sense.
That bastard. He's the worst of Mikage and Kiryu combined.
I guess.
He has the white hair of Kiryu.
Of the devil.
He has the white hair of Lucifer and the red shirt of Lucifer.
So there are all these shots in this of like Anthony is just in the room watching them
With,
essentially cuddle and look at the stars.
With like big white reflecty glass.
So that we
looks.
can't see her expression.
And it looks like very ominous, very glaring,
Yeah.
very terrifying.
So the thing is, though, like, we are, of course, of the opinion that Akio is manipulating her mystically somehow.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is part of that, because we can't see her face, so that's like unknowable motivations, etc. And then she's clearly just standing there watching, but then when she interrupts them, she's acting as if she's just entered the room, because she comes up and says, dinner's just about ready.
And Utena's like, oh, great, I love dinner.
I was
Food
just
is
thinking
great."
about how hungry I was. Bye.
And Akio's like, yes.
I'm evil now. And then it's
He was always evil.
I'm much more blatantly evil now.
Ah, there we go. We are served upon a golden platter.
The new bedroom, in silhouette, they lie down past each other, and they have one. How to describe
it's
this?
sort
Nick?
of like a big S shape, right?
It's technically speaking two beds, but they are joined by a purple overlapping field designated for hand holding.
Yep.
The much rumored designated hand holding bed that I had heard about.
And man, it's glorious.
And I was very confused because for the first time in the show, Anthe has let down her apparently very long hair in this
And the whole
sleeping
time,
sequence.
I've been like, yeah, she just had her hair up the whole time. It's fine. It's just her hair was up. Now it's just very long and a different color. Yeah.
Akio's a really nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a really
Yes.
nice guy.
Except when he talks about the stars, he gets a lonely look in his eyes. Like he's lost something very precious. So this bedroom is ridiculous. It's got a huge skylight with a rose iron framing and stained glass window just looking up at space. And then other than this handholdy bed, there does not appear to be any furniture in the room.
You were like, this is a shit bedroom.
This is a Dark Souls bedroom.
Yeah, I would love to sleep in this bedroom. Look how spacious and quiet it looks. The stars looking over you.
He seems so familiar. There are times you seem familiar to me as well, Miss Utena.
Ooh.
And they're just staring into each other's eyes. It's like very romantic.
No, it's not. No, it's not
very
romantic.
platonic.
It's very friendly, all right? They're just very good friends.
Utena's like, if you ever have a problem, you can come to me. And she's like, thank you. And then they hold hands in the designated hand-holding zone.
Which is platonic.
I want us to be friends like that. And Anthe briefly flashes to a picture of herself in the red rose dress, embracing, I would say,
Yep.
it's clearly going to be Akio, but it's the huge white prince cape cloak.
Yep. So he's hugging her back, has gloved hands.
And from now on, we'll live to help each other. And they hold hands and they go to sleep. Oh, so there is a moment where she goes to confess secrets to Utena. The secrets we've been craving for 25 episodes. The truth is what? Never mind.
Let's just get some sleep.
Let's just hold hands and sleep. Sayonji is in the kendo room and Kiryu comes to emotionally manipulate him.
Sayonji is squeezing water from a cloth, insinuating he was cleaning the kendo room.
Oh, Sayonji, you're sure to be the champion in the local tournament this year.
Sayonji stands upright, as if mocked.
Basically just like, fuck you, man. I know you burnt my exchange diary. Remember that?
You brought this upon yourself. Your exchange diary was lame and weak.
Kiryu basically just smugs up this whole conversation and Sayonji is calling him out for being smug. But then he's like, you say you've given up on the duels, but I can still hear it in your heart. Look, do you hear? The sound of that thrumming engine of the end of the world. And then a huge red car drives into the kendo room.
Literally, it's like, what the fuck are you talking? I don't hear. Oh my god, it's a red car. Like, the kendo room has no way a car could even enter the room.
No way. Even with the generous architecture of Atori Academy.
Even with the double doors leading inwards.
Oh, crucially as well, the license plate of the red car is Atori.
It just says Otori.
Yep.
Yeah. Sayonji and Kiryu then get in the car after much...
Well, I
Okay,
don't want you to skip over the bit where Kiryu, backlit by bright white light, is like, come with us.
And then
he
opens up his coat.
Throws his arms out to reveal that his coat is open and he's shirtless beneath us. Follow us to the world you seek. And then the car shows up.
And he's just awkwardly standing there pointing.
Yep, and they're driving, and over the course of this conversation, we see that Akio, who is driving, also has his coat open and no shirt. Just a bunch of shirtless dudes cruising down the highway.
What powerful visage.
Man, it's going to be really awkward when small-framed Mickey gets in the car with these.
Oh,
you know what this is? This is that fucking What Is Love? You know.
Oh, yeah. And the three of them are just in the
Bobbing
car being
their
like,
heads.
yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
But Saionji still has his coat fully buttoned up.
Yeah.
Because he's weak.
Yet to embrace the power of the engine.
Yet to love the power of being shirtless with a coat on. Yet to punch a kangaroo in the fucking face.
So Kiryu's just all like, do you still aspire to eternity and the Rose Bride? Hey, I don't trust you, he says, but I'm your... Kiryu, I don't think Kiryu realizes what a cell phone this is when he keeps being like, aren't you my only friend?
And Saionji's like, no, I'm past that now.
Yeah,
It's like,
friendship doesn't exist.
Yeah, but aren't you my only friend? Aren't you my only friend?
Crucial exposition here too. Remember when we found that little girl in the coffin? Well, that same night, Akio saved that girl. Akio equals Prince.
Definitely, right?
Might not equal Sky Prince, but equal Utena Prince.
Some form of Prince to help revolutionize world get Prince. Yes, maybe?
Yeah, show makes sense.
Surely. I now fully understand what the car represents.
I have no choice but to revolutionize the world.
That doesn't happen, but if it did, man, that'd be a fucking twist.
I mean, it basically happens in that he gets back on board, right?
yeah, Saionji's just like, wait a minute, you're telling me that if I'm more powerful, I can get what I want?
Well, Saionji leans forward and is like, who the hell are you? Grabs his shoulder, and then Akio once again says, the throb of the engine feels good, doesn't it? Look, let me... he says, I reveal the end of the world.
Does that mean that you're the end of the world, you son of
Oh
a
my
bitch?
god, let me put the car into drive more, and then while it's going faster, climb out onto the dash and sit on it for a while.
So he literally takes off his shirt more, like his coat more,
Cruises down the metaphysical night highway of the soul with his shirt off.
sitting on the bonnet, steering, just kind of leaning over.
Is this ghost riding the whip? Or is this teen wolfing?
I want to say both on some level, right? Because, this is like the opposite of planking if you did it to a car.
Yes.
You know what I mean by that sentence, even though it doesn't really work?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mickey is still our friend, which is going to make his inevitable next duel all the sadder, I'm sure.
Yep, he's still there with us.
Because he is finally sharing some information about this whole setup with Utena. He's like, hey, we can't, midway into the conversation with Utena being like, I never got any letters from the end of the world. And Mickey's like, aha, I didn't think you knew anything about him.
See, here's the thing about end of the world.
Well, no. Here's the thing about the dueling arena. There's a lift now.
And Utena's like, a lift? A gondola? Ooh, that sounds good.
And then Saionji is in the doorway to the garden, in front of a red car,
And he's like, hey, baby, have you missed me?
and he's evil again.
And he's all like, I
That
take what I
gondola
want.
is the wings which will fly to the end of the world. I will carry the Rose Bride and I to the castle where eternity dwells.
Utena is just like, are you fucking drunk? Is this like...
I thought
for
you
real?
gave up on the fucking duels, you jerk. I'm not the same man I was yesterday. I went for a night drive.
He slaps Mickey out of the way.
Yeah, Mickey, to his credit, runs between him and Anthe because, of course, Saionji has a long history of walking up to Anthe and slapping her, possibly with swords.
And Mickey's like, well, this can't happen again,
Yeah,
surely.
Mickey is effortlessly slapped away, and Utena runs to help him, allowing Saionji to grapple Anthe and
Grope her relentlessly.
challenge to duel. He's
like, the Rose Bride is mine. Anthe belongs to me.
He's gone full evil face.
He's gone crazy look from guy at, like, dollar store. Hey, have you seen this, like, puppet? It speaks to me. And you're like, okay, man, I'm gonna go now. I was like, it speaks to me.
Okay, sure.
You know that guy.
No.
Man, we had very different childhoods.
So Utena shouts, let her go, Saionji, and we don't see how that transitions to getting to the dueling arena because instead we have a shadow puppet play. Because the UFO that the first two girls, Aiko and Biko, left in, crashes and returns.
Aiko and Biko?
Yeah, I never talked about this, but their name, and the name of the one last arc was Seiko.
Ah, not Psycho?
No, Seiko. Though, if you ask me, she's...
There we go. That's the pun I wanted to bloody hear, mate. That's the one I bloody wanted.
Have you heard the news? There's going to be more duels. Yay, great.
And they look at each other like, teamwork is hard, but teamwork makes the dream work.
2 people are better for this job than 1. Half the suffering and double the pleasure.
Which sounds weird.
And then they,
But-
like, have roommate arguments. You used my shampoo last night. You ate my pudding.
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks old. Was it 2 weeks old?
It's hard to work as a team.
But you gotta do it.
I guess that's kind of foreshadowing the fact
that
that...
Anthe bit.
Not for the very first time, but for one of the most significant times to date, Anthe is going to be rejecting her Rose Bride neutrality in this sequence.
And she's gonna be like, what if human emotions are valid?
Because what's going on here? This reminds me of course, I've watched a couple of duels from Adolescence of Utena, the movie, as you know, including the first Saionji one, which plays out very similarly in large part. You know, she brings the wooden sword, or I think it's a broom in that case.
Yeah.
And that's cut up by Saionji wielding the Sword of Dios. What? No, Saionji's wielding his kendo sword.
Yeah.
Because in the movie version of that duel, something very similar to what happens this episode happens,
Where the Rose Bride rejects neutrality.
and leaps towards Utena to do a sword pull out of person maneuver.
Right, okay. Interesting.
So, you know, it's kind of a compressed arc situation, I guess.
Through lines and throughput.
So the new Absolute Destiny Apocalypse song,
Which is still the same song.
well, yeah, but it's built upon, much like it added the masculine choral voices.
Now there's fucking synths.
Yep.
It's just more epic. And now there's a gondola.
Yeah, so we go up through the gate like usual.
Past the waterfall.
Yep. Past the next gate, and we see the huge spiral staircase, but then there's a nice lift, which Anthe is sitting in, and as Utena approaches Anthe disappears and her clothes clatter to the ground. They don't clatter, they just fall softly because they're clothes.
Yeah.
Her hard metal clothes clatter to the ground. And then throughout the rest of the sequences, we get shots of a rose plant growing within and around those clothes, which I guess is...
The Rose Bride.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And like fruition of identity.
Or is it because then Anthe is traveling with Utena up, but is it like the inhuman element of her character or whatever's going on as personified by the Rose Bride?
I reckon maybe it's time for Anthe to blossom.
I reckon it's time for Anthe to, unlike Dio Brando, embrace her humanity.
Ooh. That sounds like a good plan. Yeah.
We can only hope.
We can only hope. So then Utena gets in the gondola.
Yep. And then, like, nude Anthe is in front of her briefly, but then she flashes into her ceremonial dueling dress.
Her true form.
And she does, as we continue to ascend, she does the hand motion that she typically does to change Utena's clothes.
But now it's far more intimate.
It's right in front of her.
And she's like
And
touching
she's
her.
momentarily abstract symbolism anime nude. And then she
then-
just blossoms into her full outfit.
Boom.
Boom.
Full transformation sequence.
And then they arrive at the top in a flurry of pink rose petals.
And I believe the tree has now fully grown.
And crucially, through the gate that Utena would normally enter through is the silhouette of a car.
A silhouette of a big red car.
His headlights turn on as Saionji enters the arena.
Sword in sheath, dick in pants, ready to go.
Yeah, he's fully clothed.
That's what I mean.
Saionji, you've got to let this go. If you love Himamea, look at it from her point of view. Oh, I used to do that, but now I don't want to anymore.
Looking from other people's perspectives is weak.
Yeah, so quote, I too once considered the Rose Bride's feelings, but now I know better. She has no will of her own. So the sword, and they start to fight. A bunch of cars emerge out of the ground on their hind legs, pointing upward.
It's similar to...
Unlimited blade works from Fate Stay Night.
It's similar to, you know when the big pillars came out?
Yeah, back
Yeah.
in season 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's
But
similar
cars.
to that. Yeah, but with cars.
Yep.
And they're not as tall or as imposing. They're just cars.
Yeah, just a bunch of cars, like half emerge from the ground.
Yeah, they're all stuck
It's
in there.
it's beautiful. Like, after this, they're going to try and drive to the sea before the seagulls pick them off.
Yeah, it's like Jumanji with the mosquito
It is
things.
like Jumanji
Yeah.
when the monsoon turns the floor of their house into quicksand.
Exactly
Get a bunch
like
of
that.
cars stuck in it,
Yeah, and then he gets stuck and it's like, oh,
but opposite.
yeah, because now it's a car, not a
So
person.
there's also a single moving car that symbolizes Saionji's fortunes in the duel. Like he runs along the side of the arena and it drives on its side along the side of the arena, and then when he's defeated, it like skids to a halt as if it's crashed.
It's symbolic of his drive.
I guess.
Ah.
I'm no longer the man you beat before because I saw it. What did you see? The world. And they're clashing. And then, oh no, bad things happen.
Why? Is that the prince?
No, it's not.
Is that the sword of Dios?
Yes, it glows and then it disappears. And she's like, oh shit, I've got no sword now. And he's still coming. And then Akio and Kiryu are both in the Sky Pervert's roost, watching through their binoculars, being like, the sword of Dios vanished.
Well, that's not fucking good, is
Akio
it?
looks concerned, but I thought this was going to be part of his plan.
He looks vaguely shocked and not happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Anthe is just standing there with her neutral lit up glasses in front of a car.
Looking ominous.
And her eyes are kind of blank. And then as she sees Utena keep dodging this katana,
She's in real trouble.
she has a flashback to when they were holding hands in bed. Utena being like, if you ever have a problem, you can come to me. And then her eyes seem to awaken a bit. And then she seizes the momentum. And he's like, Utena, let's fucking do a cool new sword thing.
So she pushes Utena out of the way as Sayonji tries to cut her.
Yep.
And then Sayonji's like, what? What is happening?
Oh, and crucially, the lyrics here were egg perfection.
Origin of the nest.
Yeah.
God, so good.
Stamen, pistol, a single seed. And
Anthe reverses the normal.
embraces Utena, puts her hand over her breast, and Utena glows, and Anthe pulls a sword out of Utena that Utena can then wield, which is kind of a synthesis, if you will.
Uh-huh.
Follow me, follow me.
Okay,
It's
yep.
a synthesis of the Sword of Dios drawing and the Black Rose duelists.
Pulling the sword from the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anthe is pulling a sword from her loved one so that her loved one, Utena, can wield it.
Ah, it's
Right?
like a very non-toxic version of the Black
Yep,
Rose.
that's what I'm driving at.
Yeah.
And as I said to you as well during the watch, it's basically Scott Pilgrim, the power of self-respect sword.
Instead of the like ultimate, it's the power of
Which,
love.
you know, that movie being loaded with like nerd culture references, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a
slight reference.
yep. So new sequence of this, and new it's not power of Dios that sleeps within me come forth. It's Rose of Nobility, please come forth.
Rose of Nobility.
Yeah.
That's different.
New sword name question mark. It looks the same basically.
Basically.
Grant us the power to bring the world revolution. Anthe says
Teamwork makes
Teamwork.
the dream work.
symbiosis, much like the Gungans and the Naboo.
Okay, I'll leave it with that. Yep, I'll let you have that.
Then all the cars facing the sky turn on their lights, and the Sky Prince comes down, and Utena defeats Sayonji so hard that we don't even see him get defeated. We just see him lying on the ground next to a spun-out car with green roses fluttering everywhere.
Truly, his drive to go on has been careened off
And
its
we'll
path.
never see him again.
Oh, poor Sayonji. I say, not caring.
And then Akio and Kiryu
are lying.
in a bed in the Sky Pervert's roost, reclining shirtlessly, being like, oh, Sayonji, you truly were a fool.
But Akio, isn't this bad? Oh, you are an evil man.
Aren't you enjoying this game, my boy? And then, to close us out, we're in the space sexilium.
The space sexolium.
Yeah.
The space sexolium. Yep.
And it's Akio being with Anthe. He's gazing out at the space sky. The
Yep.
sword of Dios did not appear, and yet she still won the duel.
Anthe is
Magnificent.
sitting behind him
Yep. Demurely.
with those big, brightly lit up glasses to hide her emotions.
Yep. Come here, Anthe. She hesitates, and then he grabs her more forcefully.
She tries to get away, but
Then
she cannot.
Utena is staring outside of her own space bedroom window at a huge Saturn.
And being like, what's keeping Anthe
Now,
Himalaya?
Saturn in mythology was, of course, what is that? Greek, Roman,
Roman.
and like one of the Titans. Is that right?
I don't know. I think Saturn was a god, because all the planets are named after gods.
God of generation, dissolution, plenty, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation.
Liberation. Ooh, definitely not what's happening in this scene
But unless we're aligning Utena,
with Saturn.
yeah,
Liberation, power,
agriculture,
revolution, egg,
egg.
the origin of the nest.
We are the chick.
We need to break out.
The origin of the nest.
Oh.
Great. You know, you can just throw enough symbols towards each other and something will make sense.
Look, if you have an egg and a pineapple, you smush them together, what do you got?
Where's Anthe? What's keeping her?
And then we have this weird moment
Where
Anthe's
it is Anthe, her
glasses.
glasses cast aside.
like some kind of moment of problematic glasses off. It's like
Look,
someone
Nick, I
threw them off.
appreciate that you're trying.
It's like someone threw them off.
Carelessly.
Like that's the word.
And
I
she's clearly nude, but we can barely see her body because over her is, well, we are to assume from context clues, the body of Archeo, but it's like space. Like we can see the shape of her body, but all the texture is space.
It's like big see-through spaceman.
And of course, Archeo is aligned with space.
He's the spaceman.
The space pervert.
Now, what if it's actually Saturn who's...
Yeah, what if it's just the personification of space, which Archeo has been obsessed with because he's so desperately trying to keep it back?
Yikes.
That would be stupid. I would lose all respect for this show.
Would you?
Sure, why not? Nick,
Yes.
highlights and lowlights for this one.
My highlight would probably have to be... See, it's a tricky one this time. I know what my low light's going to be.
Okay, well, I think, two very different episodes. Two very good episodes in their own way, I think. I'm going to have a hard time picking a highlight, so why don't you go?
Okay, well, hang on a minute.
You said you were going to go. You said you knew your low light.
I do know my low light.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my low light is probably just going to be when Suwabuki comes out and then his toga falls off and everyone's like, oh my god. And it's like, yes, correct.
Yes.
That's what's there. What a shame.
And then Nanami falls out a window.
Exactly. It's like, what a shock. Let me fall out the window. It's like, really? Really though? Really? What's your low light?
My low
coward?
light is, okay, I was into, like, the framing device for the flashback episode, but then the fact that it was all a dream anyway, kind of,
Undid all the
you were
tension.
you were doing storytelling around clearly a budget restrained episode, and that was good. But then the fact that none of it happened kind of undercuts it. It was funny to see Utena and Anthe come to realize that Nanami sabotaged them on the night of the ball.
Yeah.
Um,
But what if it wasn't just a dream?
but to be fair, if you are gonna pull it was all a dream on something, best to do it on a joke episode.
Yeah, but what if, right, say, it wasn't just a dream, and she fell out, and this is just the continuation of events? Zubuki's just gotten
She
better.
literally fell out a window.
Yeah, literally she just fell out. She's like, a human penis? What the fuck?
That's not my brother's.
That's not my brother's dick.
What a fucked up show.
Yeah.
Highlights. I think my highlight, because it's new and I can say it, is the new Absolute Destiny Apocalypse stock footage sequence.
You really wanted to say that, didn't you?
I did.
I would say my highlight is probably going to be and as weird as it's going to sound, the Archeo being like, come closer, Anthe.
Oh, well, he's so fucking
The
sinister.
weird-
It's
yeah.
really well executed.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh my god, what is going on?
We got bad vibes from him last arc, obviously, but he was keeping a respectable face up.
This one is just like, come here. And it's like, oh god.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh dear. Now it's just real bad.
Yeah, what a bad dude. I'm gonna cancel him.
This is like the real, like, oh, is this abuse or is this worse?
Now, Nick, I'm looking at future episode titles. And I don't necessarily want to commit to doing a double
Okay.
next week, but I see that we do have a real episode and a joke episode, so we may want to. It's an option available to us. Let's consider it. Anyway,
Okay.
the point being, I want to ask you, what's going to happen next time on Revolutionary Girl Utena, whatever the name of this arc is, Mr. Archeo's a bad boy,
Mr. Archeo's a bad boy arc.
Rise of the Space Pervert, in Mickey's Nest Box, parentheses, the Sunlit Garden, arranged.
Ooh. Okay. So it's a Mickey ep.
Yeah, I'm willing to wager that this episode will have that duel that we saw that made us want to watch the show,
Yes.
which we have not watched since we saw it.
I reckon that's true. But why would Mickey be
Why will
fighting
Mickey be
Utena?
seduced by the power of driving in a car?
What if? Because we had Mickey's sister in the car, right?
Yeah.
What
We
if
vaguely remember that.
Mickey's sister
The way
is
to Mickey's heart is through Kozue.
Yeah, so what if Mickey's sister is the one that convinces him, oh, you need to be more powerful and more assertive?
Yeah, I fucking got this.
Okay.
Akio takes Kozue in the car with him. And maybe Kiryu again seduces her.
Yep. And then
You remember that thing that he did?
Yeah.
And then Kozue starts pressuring Mickey.
Yes. Yes, I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Oh, take the Rose Bride. You deserve her. Ugh.
You got to be more assertive, Mickey. You got to take what you want in this world.
Yeah.
The end of the world.
But I also, because Mickey's a good boy, ultimately, right? We can agree.
Yeah.
He's Otena's friend.
Sure.
More so than any of the other student councils.
He'll be very apologetic,
I
but he'll do
hope
it.
that there is an element of respect there, and I hope that he accepts his inevitable loss in good faith.
Oh, he will.
Yeah.
But he'll also be like, I'm sorry, I need to get the Rose Bride. I just need to do it. This has to be the way. And Newton will be like,
also,
what?
I would like this to be his final duel, and I would like him to accept,
Unless
unless he doubles down.
Mickey, being true to form, loyal, a good boy, gets a letter from End of the World.
Ah,
What if?
I mean, he probably.
Potentially, right? And he'll be all like, the rules have changed. Now it's 2v2.
Well, we know that's not what happens,
Yeah, but what if? What if it does?
but it doesn't. We've seen it.
But maybe it does. Who knows?
Nick,
Yes.
the other episode that we will potentially watch next week or in a subsequent episode is, of course, Nanami's egg.
Nanami's egg.
In which, from the one clip we've seen, it appears that Nanami believes
Lays an egg.
lays an egg or believes she does, and has a lot of shame about that.
A lot of social embarrassment regarding one's egg.
Yes.
I'm sure we can all feel that on a deep, profound level. Each day I think, my egg is okay. But is it?
Shame on you, Nanami, carrying an egg.
That's not even a good egg.
40-year-old dubbed Suwabuki.
Who himself is also carrying an egg for prep for when an egg
You may
inevitably gets
recall
laid.
he's doing a little Russian leg dance.
Yeah, which is very... okay. Maybe Nanami, after the whole cow thing, thinks that maybe
Oh,
she's a chicken?
Or what if she thinks it's like a Fabergé egg, but it's just an egg?
Oh, so one day it just emerges. She's like, did I create this egg?
Yeah.
Did someone give me this egg?
But you know what a Fabergé egg is, right?
Like a chocolate egg?
No, it's like a jeweled.
Oh, one of those like super ornate
Yeah.
engraved and like carved eggs.
Yeah.
And they're like $2 million
Yeah.
each. Yeah. And they're covered in jewels and
Shit.
yeah, it's that just make you
just
go. "But why?"
pointless.
Yeah. Well, it's not pointless. It's very expensive.
Oh, well, perhaps you can take me on a night car drive and teach me to aspire to having a Fabergé egg.
Let me tell you about something called Autori
Let
Academy
me just
egg.
unbutton my jacket.
Let me just undo my hoodie and this isn't a shirt I'm wearing underneath.
Alternate take.
Yeah.
Nanami hears Kiryu
Okay.
talking about how,
We need to break out from the egg.
and he is the chick.
Oh.
He's like, I can carry my brother with me always.
What if someone convinces her that she has laid an egg and in order for Kiryu to be okay, she needs to take care of the egg?
It's very year 7 project. Prove you can care for a baby by keeping this egg uncracked for a week.
Exactly. Right? But it's somehow linked to Kiryu. We know it's somehow.
I mean, it's Nanami.
It's fucking Nanami, right? It has to be linked to Kiryu somehow. We just don't know how yet.
Great.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to seeing how it all shakes out. In the meantime, you should listen to a little podcast called JoJo's World.
That's us!
Yep. And you will listen to another episode of it next time. But until then, to be continued.